Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy Friday. I hope everyone has had an awesome week and is getting ready to have an awesome weekend. I'm sorry that I missed you all last week, but last week and most of this week has been quite insane for me. I've been very busy with meeting some work deadlines and family stuff, and I had to make a choice as to whether I was going to squeeze in a Facebook Live or get my other commitments done and out of the way, and I had to choose the other commitments. So I didn't get to jump on for a Facebook Live last week, but I've gotten all that other stuff taken care of, and life can hopefully settle down a little bit now for the next few weeks. So I'm back here again with another Facebook Live. So sorry I missed you last week, but sometimes you gotta make a choice, and that was it. But this week I wanted to talk about, and actually this is something I was planning on talking about last Friday, but like I said, didn't make it. But this week I want to talk about um, how not to kind of identify with the results of a test. So I think there's a lot of interest nowadays of quantifying um, different various aspects of our health and wellness via some type of testing, whether you're going to get blood tests or stool tests, or you're testing your HRV every morning, your heart rate variability, to measure how well recovered you are or how stressed you are, or maybe you're doing some type of fitness test, like you're trying to measure your aerobic fitness with something like a maximum aerobic function test, or you're trying to measure your VO2 test, or you're trying to test how much you can deadlift or squat or whatever, right? So there's all different things you can do to, try and quantify where you're at and measure your performance and your health. And just like, maybe the most basic thing is a blood test, a blood glucose test, for example, or a blood ketone test, or whatever, right? There's all these tests we have today, which is great. And I love testing, I love tracking, I love being able to quantify various different aspects of my health. But one of the things that I fell into, one of the traps I fell into as I started to go down this path of trying to quantify all these aspects of my health, is that I started to identify with those test results, and like I somehow became the results of the test. So one of the examples that I wrote about in the description of the Facebook Live is, for example, you can, say you are going to get your yearly blood test done, and the night before the blood test, you have a really poor night's sleep. You get up in the morning, you go and get your test, and test results come back, and your blood sugar is in the pre-diabetic range. It's really high. Um, and all of a sudden now you have in your head that, oh, what if I have pre-diabetes? What if I'm pre-diabetic, right? And really the only reason why your blood sugar is really high is because you had a bad night's sleep the night before, and that can severely influence your fasting blood sugar and blood sugar control throughout the day. But you're not pre-diabetic. But now you see these results, and there's all this red all over your blood tests, and results. There's these markers out of range, this markers out of range, that markers out of range, and you're getting all these ideas in your head, and oh, I'm pre-diabetic, or I'm hypothyroid, or oh, I have high cholesterol, and blah blah blah. Blah. And the point of saying all that is really that these results are sometimes just a point in time statement, right? The only reason, for example, going back to the pre-diabetes case, that you're pre-diabetic is because you had a bad night's sleep. If the next day you had a really good night's sleep and you did the same test result, the next day you went and did your blood sugar, it would be fine, right? And so we can't take a single test and really just identify with it and drill on it, because Many of these tests that we do fairly frequently, whether it's something like measuring your HRV, your blood sugar, or even your cholesterol, or your aerobic performance from day to day, if you're just measuring like how well you perform aerobically, like with a MAF test, these things can fluctuate day to day, week to week, and they can be influenced by things outside of your control, right? Your sleep, well, I mean, you have some control over your sleep, but if you have, like, for example, little kids wake you up in the middle of the night, there's nothing you can do about it. Um, but yeah, there's all kinds of things that can influence these tests, and we have to remember that just because we have a bad result one day, or several days in a row, maybe it's several days in a row that you have bad results. Um, that doesn't mean that you are in this state, right? You have poor blood sugar, you are aerobically unfit, etc. Right? You could just be having a bad week. So we need to take the data, look at the data, say, okay, data is pretty interesting, but it's really, you have to look at your overall picture. You have to look at how you feel. Generally, if how is your blood sugar outside of abnormal situations, for example? How is your HRV outside of abnormal situations? How do you feel like you perform aerobically? Whether you meet some arbitrary standard or not, or for you, how do you feel you perform aerobically? And maybe the test is accurate, right? Maybe you go and, for example, you do a MAF test and it comes back and you're pretty, aerobically unfit. And that's fine, right? It's, again, don't think that it is, don't think that because you have this result and you're aerobically unfit, or you do have pre-diabetes, that is the end state, right? You're destined to always be aerobically unfit. You're destined to have diabetes, etc. Because you can change these things, you can influence them, right? And the other thing you can do is if you are in that state, and it's a true reflection of where you are at currently, know that you can influence it, you can change it. So you can work on your aerobic fitness and get more aerobically fit and bring that MAF test down to better. You can change your diet and exercise more and sleep better, and that will help bring down your blood sugar, and you can go from having pre-diabetes to not having diabetes, right? And have normal blood sugar control. So just because a result is accurate and it is bad, right? Or maybe it's not optimal, we should say, doesn't mean that that's your destiny for the rest of your life, right? So yeah, you can kind of feel bad about it. I always tell clients, like, you have every right to feel bad about something for some period of time. I usually give them 24 hours to feel bad about something. And then after that, it's time to move on. It's time to start to think about how you can, if you're not happy with the result, how can you change it? How can you influence it? How can you make it better? What can you do to be better the next time? So I think that's an important thing to remember, is to first detach yourself from the results. Realize that these results are influenced, these tests can be influenced by a variety of different factors, and just one test result in isolation is not always an accurate reflection of where you are actually at. And also realize that if it is an accurate reflection of where you're at, that you can easily influence that test result in one direction or another, if you so choose to, in almost every case. So don't get too tied up in your results. Don't get too tied up in their tests. Don't identify with the tests, because they say they're just a point in time statement, and you have all the power in the world to change those to go in either direction. So with that said, I'll sign off. I think everyone knows now where to go to get in contact with me. But if you don't, feel free to leave comments here, direct message me. Always welcome to chat about anything, whether it's this topic or a different topic you have in mind. The other thing I'll tell you to do is to go join my newsletter. Really a big fan of the newsletter. I send out all my content every week to my newsletter subscribers, so you don't have to watch for what I post on social media or anything like that. I'll go directly to your inbox, and to sign up for the newsletter, you can go to my website at rjbhealth.coach. Right at the top, there's a newsletter link. Click on that, and you can enter your email address to join my newsletter. And if you are interested in coaching, I'm full right now. I have a wait list going, so please, jump on the wait list if you want to be next in line when I have a spot open. So you can jump on the wait list by, again, going to my website, rjbhealth.coach. And right on the homepage, there's a scheduled discovery call button. Click that, fill out the form, and that'll get you on the wait list. And as always, feel free to reach out, ask questions, comments, tell me what I'm doing, good or bad. Appreciate any feedback you might have, and I'll talk to everyone next week. Have a good weekend.